What's good, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony, aka the Senator of Chaos and Controversy. I want to further discuss the overturning of Roe versus Wade, and there are many sides to this argument that I've witnessed thus far, and I want to address it because I find it to be an interesting part of the discussion that I think many people need to look at from different perspectives, nonetheless. But anyway, needless to say, so on one hand, you had the argument to whereas abortion was looked at as a legal genocide that was targeting the black community. And many would say, well, women had a choice. It wasn't like they were forced to get the abortion. And I agree. However, as you have certain things that are put in certain communities, like these bodegas that sell alcohol, while there's a gun shop on certain corners and this, that, and everything else. Why is there drugs in certain neighborhoods? Yeah, everybody has a choice, but if you take some of the access to these, toxic, poisonous, encouraging avenues, then that would pretty much kill a good portion of, as far as the options go to entertain, so to speak. And I understood that argument, and I felt the validation was justified when you looked at it from that perspective. Also, you had the argument where, coming from white people's perspective, they're looking at their numbers being in danger to where they are going to become the minority, as Joe Biden put, by the year 2040. And that was a dog whistle that Ricky Manor had pointed out. I agree with. And how to make the move towards the preservation of life to preserve, their position in numbers, well, I think that was also a contributing factor to the decision made to overturning Roe versus Wade. Okay. So those are the arguments on one side. Here are the arguments on the other side. We already have an issue where women feel bitter about, and I'm not saying all, just a particular group of women feel bitter about the decision. They feel that their rights as women have been taken away. To look at it from the perspective of, if a woman was raped, there was incest, or there was a tubal pregnancy that would cause them some complications that might result in them losing their lives, I can see and understand that point of view. But from a woman's point of view, to whereas they already had been violated by a man, their body has been, taken by force, they've been sexually assaulted, and the consent wasn't there. So already the woman was violated. Now the woman feels violated even more because the decision is taken away from her to not to where she has to have the child against her will. So she was forced to have sex against her will. Now she is forced to have a child against her will. So I understand that argument. Now, because you're going to have these women who are bitter and feel that, okay, since men always want to make the decision for us and we had fought to have our equal footing to where we stand as far as having some kind of, fair share or whatever to their male counterparts. You don't think that these women now are going to seek vengeance against us men? They're going to be like, okay, so we can't decide to not have the child, and we're going to be forced to have the child. Okay, you sure right. Guess who's going to pay the consequence? I can see the rise in child support. I can see more fathers being put in jail behind this whole mess. The women will be weaponizing the same courts that took their rights away against us men. And you would think, oh, it's going to be a deterrent from men just having sex irresponsibly. Come on now. Let's be real. And let's be honest. Another way of looking at things is these women, these mistresses, these side pieces that mess around with these married men. If these men end up getting these mistresses or these side pieces pregnant, what do you think is going to happen to these side pieces or these mistresses if they can't have an abortion, and especially if they threaten the husband with having the child? You don't think that that's going to cause these people to disappear? So now this decision is endangering, and yeah, maybe you shouldn't cheat around or be a homewrecker. I agree. But now it's going to open up a whole new can of worms. Just saying. It's going to be some consequences to this whole decision making. And it's not going to be good from the standpoint of where I'm seeing it. And then the other argument was, and I understood where this ignorant ass hat was coming from, but the way she presented it was definitely in poor taste and disgusting. And there's no excuse, and I don't give a fuck what apology you can offer. It still didn't make it right. So we just know, basically it justifies my point. There is racism that still exists. With that being said, Loving versus Virginia, I understood was the reference that she was making, that if they could do this with Roe versus Wade, they could do that with Loving versus Virginia. What is that? For those who don't know, is that a couple in Virginia challenged the laws that ban interracial marriage. During the civil rights movement and stuff like that, it was taken to the Supreme Court to where it was found that the practice of banning interracial relationship was in violation of the Equal Rights Law or Act, so to speak. That, when talking about the 14th Amendment, yes. But at the same token, even though it, is a far stretch to even say they would go to that extent of making that decision, who knows? Because who would have thought that Roe versus Wade would have been overturned? So, yeah, there is skepticism that it would go to that extent, but as far as the nuclear family goes, this will further disrupt that, I believe, because the government will have more of a justified reason to extend the programs that they have to these single mothers, which will probably be more rampant than ever. I believe there will be more abuse cases that'll come up where the mother is abusing the child in the home. And it will be unfortunate, but when it comes to the mental questioning of those that have that instability about them, I don't put it past these women to if they're not taking it out on the men for the fact that this decision has been made against them, that the kids won't be affected as well as being a target of their aggression or their anger. And by the time anything is sought to be done, it'll be too late. Because you can't monitor everybody. You can't assume that everybody's going to do the right thing or act out of, pure vindictiveness. But I see the possibilities. I don't know. That's where I'm at, where I see both sides of the arguments, and I see the backlash and the consequences that are as such that I've mentioned being put into play, put into action, so to speak, in regards to these women who are against the decision, claiming their vengeance. And their vengeance is going to be against us men. But anyway, that's what I got. That's something that was on my mind when I was at work tonight, and it was part of the discussion, so to speak. I'm not going to lie. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you think it's worthy of sharing. And you already know how I do. Until next time, until next video, peace.